Hey everybody, welcome to Elisa's Art Room. Tonight we're going to be working on our Bluebird painting. We started it last week. This is how far we got. So we're working on this. It is on wood and it is, I think, 7 inches long. 6, 7, almost 8. So it is basically about 6 by 8. And we are using acrylic paints. In case you haven't watched me before, I always use acrylics. So we're doing that tonight. Y'all come in and say hi. Sorry if I seem a little tired. I just am. I think it's the rain. Does rain make you tired? Rain makes me tired. So trying to kind of get out of that tired mindset. But it's sometimes hard. So the reference photo for this painting is by Timothy Comeaux, and this is his photograph, and he gave me permission to use it. So that is what the reference is from. And like I said, it's acrylic on wood, and this might be the last day. I might finish it today. It's not a horribly difficult one. It's relatively easy, so I kind of got myself back into it with a fairly easy one. You know me. Some of my lessons can take like 10 videos to do, so 2 is a good number. I think I've gotten slower over the years. I used to do them quicker, and I don't do them quick anymore. But that's just me. All right, let me get you guys pulled up on my other devices here so I can find this live stream. Oh, it crashed on me. That was quick. I literally just touched it and it crashed. Oh, please. Really? Really? It's asking for my password. I don't know what it is about this little Kindle. I have the most trouble with it. So much trouble. It's not worth it. All right, we're just going to try to use the iPhone. It'll be small, but I'll manage. Okay, let's see. Where is my live? Nope, it's not showing yet. I am here, right? I see people. I see Angela. Hey, Angela. I know I'm here. Just got to get to pull up. All right, there it is. All right, we'll try to do it on this since my Kindle is not going to cooperate today. All right. I'm just going to move that a little bit closer. Hey, Sheila. All right, so, hey, Billy. I got a few people on here. I'm going to go ahead and pull the camera up top. We'll get started on this live stream and painting the rest of this Bluebird. All right, give me 1 second to move the camera. Focus. Nope, you're not going to focus, are you? Hit it one more time. All right, I think that is good. How's the lighting? Can't tell if it's in focus or not. I'll try to look at my little bitty screen and see if I can tell. I might zoom in a bit. Just going to move everything where I can. Hopefully get it in screen. All right, let's zoom in a tiny bit. Wow, my screen is like totally different on my iPad. So much closer. Let me move this way a fraction. You don't have to see the reference, but I do like to offer you that ability. Okay. We'll try that. Hey, Dorothy. I'm just going to turn off the Kindle since how it's not working. All right, so we basically got our base coat down here last week, and now we're going to work on details. So the fun part. So I'm just going to move these over. Actually, I think I'll put this up here. And try and find a piece of tape. I have like a board in front of me I can set this on. All right, so colors. What did I use last week? Goodness gracious. Red oxide maybe? Burnt sienna. Maybe burnt sienna. I always mean to go look. I'm going to put a little bit of burnt sienna. I have a feeling red oxide would be a better choice for that metal. Yeah. And maybe even some orangish red. Got this vivid red orange that might be pretty. Let's see how bright it is. Yeah, as we get to the outer edges, that'll be a good color. So this is Liquitex Vivid Red Orange. Could also get away with probably a cadmium-free light. If you can't find that, I don't know how readily available that one is, but it's similar. A little bit similar. Just drop the lid. Either of those will probably work. I'm going to mix it with those browns. I get the lid back on this guy. Oh, there's a big paint thing in there. That's why it's not going on. All right, and let's see, what else do we need? We need that blue we were using. Was I using phthalo or was I using cerulean? I don't know. I tend to use phthalo, but I think this ended up being a really nice blue, so we're going to put some of that down, I think. And some phthalo. Where's my phthalo blue? Phthalo green. There it is. This one's getting low. I have another one, but I didn't pull it out. There. Phthalo blue. Some white, of course. And some black. This is also very low. Run out of paint. I have other tubes. I just didn't pull them out. And some Mars black is what I have. You can also use carbon black if you don't have Mars black. Probably don't need much of it. I don't know if you can see all of those. Scooch them over as much as I can. Probably, like I said, it's different on my iPad. My iPad only shows like this much, but my phone is showing like that much. So weird. All right, and then we're going to just start putting in details. First thing I'm going to do, I think, is get the black of this eye a little bit better. And then I also want to put this shadow. There's like a shadow under this wing. Got to make sure that I have that shadow in there. And then I missed a little bit right there. I'm going to add just a little bit of color in there. So I think I'm going to use one of those little filberts I was using last week. Find it. I should have pulled these out ahead of time. All right, here's a liner. There's a little bit of filter. There's a flat. I don't think I want that, but maybe. I'm just going to pick a few. I don't think I want any of those. Is this the same? Bestie 1/8 filbert rake. Bestie 1/8 filbert rake. They're the same brush, but they look different. That's the problem. When you're dealing with filberts, sometimes they cut them, and they end up cutting them a little bit different on the edges, on the rounds, and they end up, they're slightly different, even though it's the same exact brush. Isn't that weird? And I'm trying to find a better round. This is a good round. What is this? This is a Bestie number 2 bushy round. These are all Creative Mark, these black handled ones, which are good brushes. I think I got them from, I'm guessing, Jerry's Artorama. That tends to be where I buy a lot of my brushes. sometimes I grab them at Hobby Lobby. I find Michael's doesn't have a great selection of artist brushes. They have a little bit, but not as good as I think Jerry's or Hobby Lobby. All right, let's try those. I think that should be enough. I'm gonna start with this just that little round. So I just want to fill in these shadows and stuff. So I'm gonna mix me this is kind of it's a dark brown. It's not really quite black, although it almost needs to be dark, but we're gonna try like filling in a shadow there. Just because I want to make sure that is nice and dark before I try to put my highlights on it. I'm going to spray my paint with some water. And I'm going to use my palette brush instead of my palette knife instead of my brush, because using your palette knife is much better. We'll just grab this one. I think that was the burnt sienna. Just want a really nice dark brown. You could almost use burnt umber, probably, but it's dark. The burnt umber is a little more, how do I say it? It's not as rich. See the tone? It's a different tone, which could work for some of that, but I don't know. I'm gonna put a little out, not much, just a little drop. But see, it doesn't have the red tones. I do kind of like the red tones. They work well with all this red in here. That's pretty dark. Let me see. You have to really add your blacks in slow, guys, or you will go too far. And then it won't work. I'm going to grab some more because I don't have enough on here. It's going to dry out in a second. You know me, I'm paint stingy. I always mix in too small batches and then they dry out on me because I'm very stingy with my paint. It's too expensive not to be. All right, I think that's dark enough. We'll see what that looks like. It's a very rich dark brown. And rich, I mean warm. Typically when I say rich, I mean warm. All right, I'm just going to refresh this chat every now and then because it doesn't tend to work as well for some reason. So dip my brush in water. Dab it off on my towel. I have a little like microfiber towel sitting here, and I just take some of the water off with it every now and then. And load my brush. Okay, and like I said, I just want to add some shadows. So I'm just going to get right under where this wing would be, just on that edge, and just blend in a little of this color. You really want to emphasize that is under. And that's what your darks do. Your darks pull things back and your lights bring things forward. I don't really care what it looks like too much at this point because it's gonna be covered a lot. But just blend some in there. And maybe all the way up into like this area. Just on the edge of that wing. Okay, you can already see how that's starting to pull that back. And then I'm going to fade it out just a little bit into this area. All right, so there's that. And then I'm debating. I might put just a tiny bit right there where that wing is. Doesn't need too much, just on the very edge. Just to kind of pull it under a little bit. And then where else do I need a shadow? Under his beak, I need a shadow. And then at the base of the beak on top. So Don't sit your hand in your wet paint. I do that all the time. So I'm just going to put a little bit under here. There's a little bit of a V right there. I'm going to kind of draw that in. And I'm add a little bit of this red oxide. Put that, let's see if I can get it to it. Just, I don't know if you can see. There's this little V right here. And it's not quite as dark. So I'm just going to use this red oxide and that little bit of black in there. Think about like that. It's just a base coat, so I'm going to add back some black. I'm calling it black, it's dark brown really. Put that there. And then I want a little bit of that right there. I have to turn. I have a hard time painting certain directions for some reason. Turn my reference so I can see which direction the feathers are. So we're going to go this direction. Just getting a little bit of that dark color in there. I just want it nice and dark where I'm going to lay these light feathers. I didn't quite get it as dark as I wanted to last week. That's pretty good. Let's do this beak just a little bit darker. That's good. And then I also want that eye nice and dark. And even around the edge of that eye, there's a little bit of a dark area right there. So I'm going to try to go around that circle. Get this as small as I can. Let me try to zoom in. You guys are going to have to remind me to zoom back out because I know I'll forget. I'm going to zoom in just a little. Is it focused? I can't tell. There, I think it is. It's so sensitive. It goes out of focus on me way too easy. Like I said, I would love a lock on this focus. That would make life much easier. So I'm just putting a little dark ring around this eye. Okay. And this will have like highlights and stuff on top of it, so it won't look like this. Always remember there's a lot of little steps to doing these type of paintings that add to the final project. And you got to trust the process of putting all these colors down that might not make sense at the time. So just go ahead and put them and it will work out. Just kind of filling in some of these. I missed just a couple little spots I just missed. There's just nothing there except for that background color, and I don't really want that background color here. All right, what's that fuzz? I touched that. All right, let me wipe that back off. That was just a wet wipe. Nice thing about working on wood, it's very forgiving. Darks. I'm gonna rinse that out, and I'm gonna grab just some pure black, honestly. Well, I'm gonna do the black with this brown, a real tiny little pile of it, and I'm going to go around the eye except the pupil. I think. Well, I can do the whole thing and then I'll come back in with the pupil. With the pupil to be slightly darker than the rest of the eye. Because, believe it or not, there is a pupil there. It's hard to see, but there is. So, just inside that ring I just did. If y'all can't see when you're doing yours, you can always throw your tracing paper back on there and figure out where it is. I think that's close. So the pupil is, I'm trying to see how big this pupil is. It's not very big. It's basically like if I took this and put a dot there. That's how big it is. And the rest is this almost brownish color, especially at the top, and then at the bottom's a little bit darker. But, so that's all I'm trying to do right now is just kind of get that brownish black color, and then there'll be highlights added, but for the most part. And then we're going to draw in that little pupil with pure black. So let's rinse that, grab some pure black, and do this pupil. You know, attempt to get it round. Just go slow. And if you're like me, you know, turn it when you need to, because it just helps. If you can't get an angle, don't fight trying to get that angle. Turn the whole thing. All right, I think that's good. Okay, rinse that out. I'm going to zoom back out just a little bit before I forget. If I can get my thing to work. Out there. All right, so let's work on, which side do I want to do first? Maybe the blue. No. I do want to add this white area there under the blue. So I'm going to try to add some of that. So maybe I'll mix up a little kind of a light gray with this color. I could probably use that and just some white, honestly. There's enough black in it, it'll turn gray. Where's my palette knife? There it is. So let's do that. I'm just going to mix a little white in here. See if I can get that color. If not, if it's needs to be warmer, I'll add some more of that red oxide or something. Or maybe just the burnt umber. Maybe a little bit of the red oxide. As long as it doesn't go pink on me. I don't want it to go pink. If I have too much black in there, it'll go this weird pink. It's kind of starting to do that. So maybe I won't use that color. Let's not do that. I don't like the tone it's changing to. Alright, let's do just the red oxide and white. Let's see how that does if it doesn't look pink for me. Maybe a drop of burnt umber. A little more burnt umber. Oops, didn't get any. I'm trying to get the tone first, and then I'll work on the whiteness of it. Almost needs yellow or something. We're going to see how that looks once I whiten it up. I may just wait to do the yellow later. Also need something a little more gray beside this, so we'll keep that color. That's all right, I guess. And let's add some grayer color. So a little bit of white, a little bit of black, and maybe a drop of blue. Any more white? We'll go with the phthalo blue. Oh, that's too much. It's the smallest amount of blue, guys. The smallest. Sometimes it's hard to get a small enough bit. All right, let's see how this looks. I think we're close. Too blue. Oops. Too blue. That's why I start small. All right, I think that's all right. Somebody's being very loud. I can hear them. All right. So I'm just going to put this little bit of a white edge on this wing. It's on the wing itself, so it's raised. It's hard to kind of tell that, but it is. It starts about here. So I'm just going to try to make a very close edge just on the blue side. It needs more water. Just need to roll it a little bit better. And the stick's going to be somewhere right there. I'm not exactly sure, but I think about right there. Just that little white edge there. Okay, I think it needs to be slightly wider. Hey, Deborah. And I can tone this down with a wash later. But I do at least want it to be there so I don't forget it. Because sometimes I will forget things. All right, I think that's all right. Let's do the... I'm so torn. There's over feathers and there's under feathers. This is a hard one. Usually there's not this many over and unders. But this blue is definitely under, so I guess I'll do this blue first. I might do some of I'm gonna do some of this just because I'm already got the paint mixed. But I'm gonna switch brushes to one of my filberts. This is that little bestie filbert rake. And I'm gonna try to add, oh, this really needs to be so much warmer. Well, I'll do some of this inside that's definitely not as warm. Is it too light? It's a step too light. And add a little more dark to it. I'm just going to do a tiny bit with my brush. All right, let's try that. I try not to, you gotta not to go too fast of your changes. I guess it's still too much. I'm trying to avoid mixing with my brush. It's so bad on them. Right, it's too much of a change, so I'm going to try to add a little more black to it. I had this background really dark, but you have to. It's not that I shouldn't have, it's just, it is. Get me another wipe. All right, try that again. It was a little too much too soon. I just want to get some of this on here that's a kind of a medium gray. It's still not too much. It's still too much, too much, too much, too much. I'm going to get this color right. I'm looking for this color that's, it's kind of in between the outside and the inside. I don't know how to put it. It's like the second layer. And it's just got a little bit too light. Yeah, I'm just putting little feathery strokes. Gosh, it's so dry. It's because this brush doesn't hold much paint. When you're working with smaller brushes and they don't hold much paint, you do have to reload a lot more. Alright, so feathery light strokes of this color. I might have to add some other colors here, but I'm just going to kind of get a hint of this transition here. It's a little bit of a transition to this color. All right, I'm gonna add some brown to this. See what that does. It's not too bad. Got a lot more directions going in there, but I'll play with that later. For right now, I'm just getting some of it down. I'm hoping this dries a little darker than it's showing. It's a little lighter than I wanted. Some of this will be covered up with the tree branch. I'll just add a little more brown to this. Maybe some black too. I don't want to go into this shadowy area too light, so I'm darkening that. I'm going to darken it even more. All right, more dark. I'm not sure of the tone. I feel like it needs to be redder. I added just a little bit of that, what was that, red oxide? I think so. I don't want to get too close to my nice shadow there. Can you still see that shadow? So I'm just trying to do a little graduation because it just gradually gets darker. And I could have started with dark first, but normally I might have, but it just wasn't. I wouldn't. We'll just go the opposite way. There, now I'm getting a little more graduation in there. I feel like my tones are still just not there. It needs to be, I don't know, more red, more yellow, something off. But I can fine-tune the tones later too, with washes or anything like that, if I don't get it exactly where I want it. I'm just using this filbert just to do little, like, just kind of downward strokes because it's just the easiest way to do it. If you could also just use a liner brush. You don't have to have a filbert for this part, really. But it does work. It's too much. There's a nice dark spot there and I totally covered it up. Let's see if I can put it back in. I'm going to add this under. There's just a little bit where you can see the under feathers there. I don't want to lose it, so I'm just adding some black. It's real subtle, but it is there. Like the feathers are real thin. And that's perfectly fine. You can always just add back in your dark colors if you go too far. Don't freak about that. It's not going to hurt anything. Just going to graduate that a little bit better. And I'll come back over that just some. And once I add the really light colors on top of that, that'll make sense more. But there is a little bit of those black undertones just kind of peeking through these feathers. And I don't want to lose them completely. So I'm just going to add a few back in. Okay, I think that's good. There's something here. What is that? A little bit of a brown spot there. I think it might be where his foot is coming out from that wing. So I'm going to try to get that separation in there. It could be a branch, but I think it's his foot. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes like, I don't know what that is, but you just guess and go with it. But there's a little bit of a dark separation there. I'm guessing it's his leg. So I'm going to kind of add it like it might be a leg. If it's not, it's not, but it's there nonetheless. All right. Okay, what do I need? I really want that yellow tone there. It's almost this color. It's close. I'll try it. Let's see if it works. It's so contrasty to this because this was our base that it can be confusing, and you're kind of like, is it that? Or is that too much? I don't know. I'm trying to cover up my leg there. I'm going to kind of keep this a little separated at this stage. I feel like I'm off with the rays there. It's more about like this. Yeah. So I'm purposely leaving gaps. Let's see if this is like this. Kind of comes all the way down to where I think there's a leg. Like I said, I'm guessing, but I think it is. Okay, it's getting too wide. That means it's getting too dry. Trying to find spots to work on. All right, yeah, let's go with this color. It's working. It's not bad. I'm not filling it in though. I'm not going so strong that I can't add more tones. And like I said, the stick's in here somewhere. I don't know where. It's somewhere right there. Not the biggest deal. Okay, I'm just gonna keep adding these. My brush is getting weird. I might have to wash it out. Sometimes if you're working with a really small brush, if it starts just making really fat lines on you, just wash it out and reload it, because it just means the paint's building up too much. Like I was starting to get some crazy fat strokes on there. This is probably much darker than I am putting down, but that's okay. Like I said, I can always glaze it. I can always glaze these lights darker later if you need to. And I actually do that a lot. I do like working with glazing over the top. And by glazing, I just mean like a really light wash, not an actual glaze. I don't do a glaze, but a really fine wash over the top. And I call that glazing. I don't know. I guess that's the term. Try to get some of these separations in here. There's a little bit of like kind of bunchy feathers. So I do want to make sure I try to do a few. Bunchy feathers with gaps in between. I know this seems very tedious, but if you've watched me before, you know this is how realistic painting goes. It's just adding layers until you get to where you need to be. Honestly, that's it. Just keep adding layers. And I guess it requires some patience. I don't know. I just don't really think about it and enjoy the process as I go because, you know, it is what it is. I don't want to go too far over there. There's a little more of a whiter color there. I'm going to try to add some. Can I do this? I'll add white. Just straight up white. See if I can lighten that up enough. I don't want to go quite gray. All right. Make sure you dry your ferrule if you just washed your brush because it'll drip down on you for sure. Okay. Just adding a little bit of that lighter color through there. I'll put that limb in a second, but I really prefer to do my feathers first if I can. Where's my pile? I think it's this pile. Just a couple really brighter ones right there. But I'm leaving that black show through. There's still quite a lot of black showing through right there. And then I'm going to go slightly darker. All right. Let's go. I think I'm going to leave that like that for now. I'm going to do this. Almost got this color right here. I'm going to do that color, I think. Under his face there. If I can get the right angle. Just looking at how those feathers are there. Need to get that. I need that line in there first before I get too crazy with this because I don't want to lose his beak. It goes about like I'm hinting at that beak line there. And there's some little bitty feathers just below there. And these are very spread out, teeny little feathers. So I want those there. And I want darker, 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 darker. Not too dark, but kind of dark. All right. A lot of these feathers are separated. I'm going to try to do that. I say try. So basically you just kind of try to do little batches. And then we'll blend those. And this turns over this way. Almost needed that orange under there, but that's okay. I'll play with it later. Just trying to get these directions right. Turns out a little bit there. A little bit there. Just a little comes down into that orange. Reload. These around the beak are kind of interesting. They're like curved. Then there's some straight ones above it. Little bit straight, and then just kind of go up just under the eye. I'm not gonna do too many because I got a lot of detail to put in there still, but I'm just kind of getting the feel of it. There's a little spot by the eye, I think about there, and then a little bit through here. Okay, the rest of that's a little bit darker for now. Let me add some black to this. Maybe even some blue. Try the phthalo blue. Just barely touching it. All right, let's try that. And I'm just gonna tense this kind of darker gray color through here. Remember, if y'all have questions, just type them in the comments. If I don't see it during the live, I do always try to go back and check my comments, so I'll try to respond. I'll darken that up just a fraction. A little bit darker right here. I'll be blending all these colors together at the end as I go. The layers will blend into each other better than they are right now. Something weird right there. I feel like it needs to be fatter here. I think that's pretty good. That's more blue. I'll add just a little more blue to that. Work in just a little more of that blue color. I want this darker color in between those little feathers I did. They're basically at the front of each of the sections. It's still not quite dark enough, a fraction darker. I'm just barely touching that black as I add it. It's so, it just will move on you so fast. You don't want to go too far. Well, if you go too far, it's not the end of the world. You can just add it. Add it back over the top. That's the nice thing about acrylics, is you can just keep layering. Don't ever freak out and give up on what you're doing, because acrylics are fun like that. You can mess up totally and just add another layer right over the top of it. and keep going. It's not the end of the world. We need a lot more gray around this eye. It's kind of solid through there. I'll refresh that little bright spot later. It goes in there, but then there's like a little dip of dark. I'm really getting more detailed now, so I'm just looking at all the little nuances of lights and darks, and there's a lot of them, because all these little nuances is what makes this look real. And if you don't have patience for that, then, you know, realistic painting may not be for you. It does require some patience. I have a lot of patience, I think. I'm going to darken this section up just a fraction. It's got a little bit of a shadow to it. And then it's a little more of a lighter area through there. So just, it's like a little line from just below the beak. Okay. I'll add some of this. My brush is getting too fat again. Might have to wash it. We'll see. Trying to add back in tips to each of my little sections. I'm just tapping. Because I'm working with this nice little filbert, that's really all you got to do is just tap and lift. It's not like a difficult stroke or anything. Just tap and lift. Alright, that's good. It's not the right tone yet, but it's fine. We're going to worry about tones as we go. Okay, more gray around this eye. Oh, that's definitely not wet enough. So the gray around this eye is all through there. It goes around. I know it's looking a little light, but that's okay. Like I said, it can always be fixed later. I'm just trying to get that separation in there. So through here, a lot of little teeny tiny single feathers through here. He's more fluffy right there. Up to his nostril. Not too far over, but about up to his nostril. Okay, my brush is getting too fat. Wash it out, reload. I look at my reference a lot as I'm going. You have to learn to study your reference when you're doing these. And you get better at it, I think, over time, for sure. If you paint regularly, your improvement can be really fast. I know I saw a big improvement in me even like over like a year. Big difference. All right. I think I might switch to the blue color. Let's wash my brush. Let me clean off my palette just a little bit, guys. So I'm going to try to save some of these colors because I might use them again. I'm just going to pull them into a pile. As long as they're not dry. If they're dry, then I'll just wipe off the whole thing. But I do have enough there that's wet. But this is all getting too dry. This is a glass palette, so it'll just wipe right off. You can use a wet paper towel or a rag or whatever. A wet wipe. I just use a wet wipe that doesn't have chemicals, guys. Buy the water wipes or something. They don't have chemicals, so you're not adding anything to your paint. Get a little bit of brown in there. I'm just trying to give myself some room. And I also do this because I don't want any dry, flaky paint on there. That will cause you problems. Try not to waste anything. I have these really close. Normally I would be spread out on this whole mat if I wasn't painting live. But because I am live, that's why they're so close. It's definitely a little harder when they're so close. But y'all are doing it. You got more room. All right, I think that's good. Just spritz that one more time. Check my comments. I don't think I've got anything. Y'all are just watching intently. Okay. Alright, so let's grab a little bit of that blue color. I just want this medium tone blue, which is pretty much a combination of phthalo blue and the cerulean blue. Just gotta wipe my hands off. Paint all over me from touching that white. Alright, so palette knife, so phthalo and cerulean. I think that's a good mixture for this little bluebird. Phthalo is really close, but just adding that cerulean really kind of just hits it. Okay, and then some white. I might have to get some more white because my white is getting really contaminated. I'm only doing the lower section of this pile because that way I can pull from the darker if I need to. Okay, and then might even add just a touch of black off to the side. And that's just going to give me that color with a little bit of a grayer tone to it. Maybe just a drop more. Okay, that's good, I think. All right, let's try those colors and see how that works. Trying to get water on my picture. So we're going to start adding these feathers in. I am going to start with this darker gray color, I think. Darker blue gray. I'm just going to try and separate some of these feathers. It's not quite dark enough, is it? Let me try the plain. If I lose this white, so I'm not gonna, it's not the end of the world, I'll put it back. So there's a little feather there that goes that direction. And it's under the other one. Yeah, it's pretty much pure without any white in it. And these little ones are always challenging. We're gonna try to get them. So there's approximately 6 rows of these little feathers. I'm just going to try to do little rows. There's a bump there, but I'll add the bump later. Right now I'm just going to try to get the rows. Keep in a little dark spot between them. think there's about 6 of them. Well, you could trace it, I suppose, and try to do it exact, but I don't typically. Because I don't think it's that big of a deal. As long as you hint at the rows and get some of them on there, it will look plenty realistic. Alright, so how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6. And I can add little bits of dark in between to separate them later. But I do want to keep hinting at the direction of them. I don't know where that stick is, but it's somewhere here. We're just going to keep going, not worry about the stick. Alright, so, and then those continue up through here. So, approximately 6 of them. 1, 2. I don't know how much you can see on this. I probably should have zoomed in. And it's real subtle change right now as I'm just separating these. So you got the straight ones, and then at the very top, they're not straight. They're, I don't know how to explain it. They're kind of sideways. A little more downward motion than straight. I think they're like layers of feathers kind of going this way. And then it kind of stops right about there. And then these are the straight ones. You almost have to know bird anatomy to paint birds. Alright, so something of this direction here. But I don't know, this might take me another day. I'm being really slow, so it might. I don't want to cover up all that nice dark there shadow because that's an under feather. So I'm trying not to go all the way to that point. I grabbed a little more of that gray, but that's alright. We'll just work with it. Okay, now I've got this feather that's straight right. Let's add some more of that plain. Let's see if I can get this feather in here. I think these two feathers are important to stick out like that because they just really make a difference. I'll wash that because I want some more of that pure blue color if I can grab any. I covered most of it up. Might have to make some more. I just want to get this one that's under a little bit darker. Let me just grab some pure phthalo. Maybe a drop of black. This one under is with the white edge is just slightly darker. Yeah, that's better. And then we'll go back to the other color. It's a little more pointy than that, but I can fine tune that point later. Alright, that's good. You can see it. So, I had those brown feathers there. I lost them. So I'm going to try to do this. Can you see this? Let me see. Hold on. Let's see if I can zoom in any. I don't know how much I can zoom in because I don't have a lot of room here. So right here, there's this little light area that's like a bump where the feather's raised. I want to make sure I get that in there. So I'm just going to add a tiniest bit of that lighter color. I wish I knew where it's, I need to put that lemon because that's bugging me. Hold on. I just put it in there. I need to make sure it's not wet. It's a little bit wet. Hold on. I gotta dry it. Wanted to see where that was, so I didn't have my, see my point's a little low right there. I didn't want to cover it up completely, so I might bring that up just a little bit shorter. It's a problem if you don't have it completely drawn out. I thought I was close, but I'm close, but I'm not quite where I want to be. That seems awfully wet. I'm just going to try and cover up. Well, maybe just some straight phthalo. I'm going to move that tip up just a fraction. A little bit of black. Trying to make this those straight ones that are under there. I'm just going to give them a little more separation. I know I'm a little lighter than I want to be. That's okay though. I'll fix that later. So about 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not very straight. Trying to get them kind of straight. I'll fine tune the straightness with the black mark that's in between. And I'm not crazy about this color exactly, but that's okay. We'll fix that later too. I'm just going to try to get this bump. Oops, getting too fat on me. Getting too fat, brush. Alright, so the bump. Nope. I'm just going to make the lighter color bump. It's the only way I know to call it. Alright, so it is about here, here, and it goes down. It won't look right until I get the black lines, but it's close enough. That is just not going on. It's very dark there. I'm trying to keep it dark because I don't want to. That one feather is very dark. Just that one on the edge there. It's got like a white edge, which I'll add later, but I don't want to. lose it. I think it's just one feather too. Yeah, it's pretty much just one feather. And this dark color is in between each other feather. Okay. We can put this, a little bit of this right there. And right there. Alright. Fine tune that bump. If I can. I'm gonna mix this color better. Really needs to be stronger phthalo blue. Just the slightest bit of that other color. It's probably too much water. Alright, so there's a point. The problem is the feathers are so small and I can't quite get that smallness. I'm trying, but it is hard. Where's it at? About there. Okay, I think that's good enough. I'm going to try to fix that tone up here. Just a little. Just going over it with a little bit of a darker color. And then I want that mark there back in. So I need, it's almost this brown color. We're going to use this little brown color. About the same as this color here. That's what's on the tip of these. I don't know if I can use this brush. It's not really the ideal brush. But it is pretty pointy. For a little filbert, it's pretty pointy. As long as it's wet enough and you flatten out when you drag it. Alright, I'm going to add this one back. So it was much closer than I thought it was. About there. Okay, that's better. This really is way too white, but we'll tone it down with a wash or something. You can see it as a while ago it looked really white to me, and right now it looks really not white. It's because as the colors around change, you start seeing it more accurately. Tone it down just a fraction. And that'll go into that branch. Okay, I think we got those feathers right. They'll be fine-tuned more, but close enough. Should I do more there? Just a little bit more there. There's another bump I'm trying to get it. Let's see. All right, I think it's about like that, and then just slightly whiter. Let's try not to go too far. We'll see. Need more water though. I need to spray these again. Where'd it go? Here. I hope y'all can see these little subtleties that I am referring to, because that is one of the big things about painting these, is being able to see them and pick them up. Just these little subtle changes in direction and tone. Now, if you just want to do something that's more loose, you totally can. You don't have to do all this detail. You know, it's just, that's how I paint. So that's a me thing. If you don't want to, you can totally make a beautiful painting without doing all the detail too. Just gonna lighten this up just a little bit. There's a little bit of a light. No, it's not fine enough. a light ring line where the quill is. See if I can get it kind of straight. I'm just going to hint at it. I'll fine tune it later. It's not too bad. I'm starting to get this bump in there. So it's kind of like that. And then that's like, I'm going to try a pure phthalo and see if that works. I think that's what I need, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I think that's good. That's going to give me that little bit of a change there. Okay, we'll just carry that out. And then I'm going to go slightly lighter. On the outside. Nope, not light enough. One more step. I'll go even lighter later. I'm going to leave it for now though. Still trying to keep that dark spot there. Alright, so now I got a little bit of that subtleness there. And it comes down straight with these guys. Still got to work on this area, but it's close. All right, we need that brown spot there. Let me see if I can get it. I think I'm going to try this peachy brown, and I can always tone it later. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and they are approximately so 1. Is that where the first one is? Maybe. 2. They're real light. I don't like this brush. It's not working for me. I'm going to just use it for now, but it's not quite what I want. But something like that. It's very dark though. I need burnt umber or something. I think burnt umber. Add a little bit of burnt umber. Get it small enough. So the tops of each of these have just this little bit of brown. And that goes over to this one. That's close. Okay. Once we get more tones in there, it'll be fine. All right, that's good. Let's jump over to, what time is it? 10:20. Okay. Let's jump back to the head since we're already in these blues. Do some of those blue tones up there. It's pretty much the phthalo blue with a drop of the cerulean. I need to spray my board again. Okay. I don't know if I can do it from this angle. I'm going to try. I'm trying to allow that little bit, the little tip on this brush to kind of stick out just a tiny bit. I'm going to turn it though. I can't do that angle. I zoomed out too far. Here, I'll scooch over. whatever reason, it's just one of those things I have to turn. I can't any more white in there. It's not showing. By white, I mean that cerulean with a little bit of white in it. Just getting this lighter blue color. Gray needs to be a little further out. We'll pull that out in a second. And as I add more layers, it'll get smoother looking. It might look weird to you right now. I definitely got to pull that gray out a little bit further, though I can see that now. So this turns just a little bit more downward as we come over this way. I'm going to pull a little of that gray in while I can. Let's see, we'll add some black to just some straight up phthalo and white. Make a little pile. Not dark enough. It's darker than I think. Okay. So this gray needs to come out just a fraction further into this blue. It's very smooth right through there. Play with that later. Too much right there. I want to cover up all my nice white spot there. And there's a little dark spot right here, but I may do that later. I don't know. Let me see. I'll try to add a little bit of it. Not too much though. Where's it at? Behind the eye. Maybe there. By the time I add the white on top of this, it's going to go, it'll look dark, but it won't be this dark probably. So add a little darker through here. I think I got it. And I want some more just filler in type color there. So blue, kind of a blue-gray. I need to get that nostril drawn in there. Let's lighten that up a fraction. Nope, lighter than that. mixing with my brush. Doing the thing I say not to. Sometimes it's just easier. Little bits of white through there. Still don't have it dark enough. I should have kept the balsam. Alright, let me try it again. There's just a really dark spot through here. Okay, I think that's about right. Is that dark? No, it's not dark. I thought it was dark, but it wasn't when I put it down. Still needs a little bit darker through here. If I can add just a fraction. I hope y'all can see what I'm looking at. And then I think I want a little bit dark just at the top of this beak. I need to get that nostril in there before I can't tell where it is. There's going to be some really fine piece of wood. This is only basically 6 by 8, so not even quite 6. So it is small. Okay, try to get some of those light areas in there. I'm trying to go really fine. This is a nice color, so I'm just adding it. Some of these feathers. Just a fraction here. Okay, let's get some orange in there so I don't lose that beak. I think I'm just going to go with this. I don't know what this was. What was this? This is vivid red orange. That's what it is. I think it'll be bright enough. Try to get this beak tones in here. Just so I can tell it's the beak. I'll put a little bit of that underneath too. It's a nice color. It's very translucent though. But it's nice when you're just trying to add tone. Like there were already some whites there, so that's just covering those. I think that's good. All right. Let's try to get some of this done, and then we might have to quit. I'm not going to get to the tree branch at all today, so, but we're getting there. All right, let's do some of those feathers. So I'm going to have to clean off my palette, aren't I? This still needs to go a lot lighter. Don't freak out. I know it needs to go lighter. It will, just not yet. All right, I'm going to clean off the palette because I don't have any room. So I'm going to pull just a fraction of this in case I need it right there. But I don't think I need anything else. I might take that brown because that is a good brown. Steal some of this. Just a little bit. All right, the rest of this is going away. I should have grabbed a paper towel. I gotta spray it first. It's too dry. Your water glass pellets will clean up nicely with water, but you do have to spray it just so it loosens up. And then you just take your palette knife and just wipe it off. Can you even see? I'm talking to you like you can see, but you know, I'm zoomed completely out, so, or in. So I'm just cleaning this up so I have more room to work. Y'all have to yell at me when you can't see. Like I said, I always forget. Just clean off anything that might be dry. I'm sorry if it's squeaking. Try not to squeak too much. All right. There we go. Now let's grab some blues. All right, so we need phthalo blue. Oh, we're not doing blues. Y'all talk to me. My brain is gone. All right, not phthalo blue. We're doing oranges. Orangey red color. Orangey brown color. I don't know. Orangey color. Okay, back to what I was thinking. We are doing this color. So we'll grab this. That was red oxide, I believe. And burnt sienna. I don't know if I need burnt sienna. I've got a little bit there. So red oxide, and then I think I'm going to go with this orange to it maybe. Or maybe even, I'll go with vivid red orange because it's nice and translucent. And it should just tint this. We'll see. We'll see how much it tints it because it is very translucent. I might have to go with a little bit less of the darker color. You can't add light to dark, guys. It doesn't work. But that might be enough to start with, and then I'll lighten it from there. Maybe just with, probably with yellows. Probably. We'll see. Maybe with the, what do I have here? I have cadmium-free orange. That might be a good lightening tool. Let's see. Yeah, maybe. Either cadmium-free orange or maybe cadmium red light. Red light is still orangey looking, but it's a little darker. I think red light. Red light totally looks orange. It does not look red. I'm getting water on my stuff again. All right, so let's start with this color. I'm just going to stick with this brush because it's working fine. And I'm going to start at the bottom, I think. So I'm just adding in little feathers. Probably should spray that because it's too dry. Trying to get a blend where they meet. And I'll come back up with that other color again too, so definitely need more water. Any comments? I don't think I have any comments. Nope, everybody's just watching. Okay. So I'm just going to add this first. Start to lighten up some of this. Try not to fill in all the gaps because then it won't look right. Try not to go. I'm going to go a lot more water on there as I come over where the shadow needs to be. because I have more water, it'll dry darker. Okay, there's even some of this tone down in here. We're just going to bring some down. Like I said, I still got to do this again. There's a lot that needs done to that, so this is definitely going to be at least 3 lessons. I was kind of surprised. I was thinking 2, but yeah, it's not going to be 2 for sure. I do like that tone though. I might add some of that through here because it's honestly, this is a lot oranger than you think it is. It'll have light tones on it, but I do like how this vivid red mixture is looking on it, so I'm going to put some of that there. And then we'll add more whites later. But that's good. I like that. Okay. And then we'll go back up. And we're just going to continue moving forward. You can go this way if you feel more comfortable with these filberts, because it does have that point on that end. So if you feel like your feathers aren't looking as pointy as you want them. I'm not worrying about the fine detail on these feathers yet. We'll worry about that as we get lighter layers. But I am keeping my direction. Remember, always keep your direction right throughout the painting. All those undertones show. Alright, so there's a little change in direction right here. Go ahead and do that real quick. Just coming into that blue just a little bit. And then turns. There's a lot of little pieces through here, so try to get these layers. It's another spot that's got like just kind of raised gappy layers. I'll try to get those in there. Just a little bit too far over. And then this turns about this way. Okay. And top comes. I'm trying to see where this one feather is. I think it's about here. Turns this way just a little more. These are out here. And it's very separated through here, so I'm trying to keep it kind of loose. Comes up in between these feathers here. Just even the slightest hint of it through here, so we're just going to put a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. just building. I will add lighter colors on top of this for all this detail, but I am still building these. Just trying to get these little bunchy feathers so they look right. It goes up into that blue just a fraction there. Right through here just a little bit. And then try to get these tips. I might have to turn for that. Too much. Okay. I think that's not too bad. All right, that's a good start for that color. There's actually, I think there's like a slight color difference there. Maybe I'll just use straight up I want a translucent color. Let me see if I have a transparent burnt sienna. I do. Just want a little bit of a transparent color. Transparent burnt sienna will work. The other burnt sienna I was using was not transparent. But I should be able to tone this wing just a little bit back here. It just has a hint of some different color feathers through there. Just like there's some brown through here, it has that hint of that color. There's just a couple of spots that have that brown, even the bottom of this feather. Just a little bit. All right, that's not bad. I might go one shade for tonight. Just a little bit of this vivid red orange. It should be enough. Make sure my ferrule's dry. And we're going to try, oops, is that a drop? No, okay. It was just a light. I thought it was a drop. I was like, please don't be a drop. I hate getting drops in my paintings. It messes them up. Just going to do the tips of each of these little bunches. Just a little bit. And that will kind of lean me toward defining these separations a little bit better as we go. I almost need to turn it, but I'm going to try to do it. Hopefully y'all are starting to see the subtleties come through. I really want to get a little more into that blue too. In some places this will be as light as it goes, but in others there will be a lot more little hints of light colors. All right, I'm going to try to get that. I just can't do it from that direction. All right, let's see if I can get it in there. Okay. It's just got a lot of really fine bits of feathers coming through there. See if I can get them. It's funny when you look at things upside down too, you sometimes see things you didn't see before. It's kind of weird how that works, but it does actually do that. Okay, there. That is good. All right, I think that's a good stopping point. We still got a ways to go. I lied. It ain't going to be 2. It's going to be at least 3. Like I said, I'm a slow painter. I don't know why, but I am. But it's okay. It's all about enjoying the process, right? All right, well, we got a little bit further. You can definitely see Birdie starting to come alive. And I've got a lot of paint left on here. I will probably use this to paint just some surfaces because you can't put it back in the tube, and I don't like to waste it. So a lot of times when I do have paint like this left, because I junk journal and I do other things, I'm just fixing my focus there. There are opportunities to use that paint and things. And usually it just means spraying it and just using it as a base on something. Sometimes you can just use it as a base on like canvases, like if you have the little canvases and you like to paint on those. I've used it for those. Let me see if I can find the ones I have. I think I know where they are. Maybe. I want to show you what I mean. Canvases. That's all watercolor. Huh. Okay, maybe not. I don't know where they are. They're somewhere around here. But they're not where I thought they were. So anyway, you get the idea. But I will use this to just paint some bases on some stuff so I don't waste the paint because I might as well use it up. So it'll probably be possibly file folders, possibly some watercolor paper, possibly just some cracker boxes. Like I use these for different things, and you know, you can take this and make a base for a tag if you do junk journaling and such like I do. You just take a little brush, and it's just kind of silly, but I might as well show you. And you can just take some of this leftover color and just, paint some interesting looking backgrounds on it. As long as your colors are compatible and will look okay together. Maybe I'll do some browns. You can just play around, and it just makes good tag bases or things like that for backgrounds. And you can use a sponge, but I'm just kind of showing you real quick with this brush because I might as well show you kind of what I mean. And then I will just throw some paint colors on here, and then I'll use this later in a tag or something. Whatever it works on. Okay, so if I was going to use a brush, I would do that. Sponges work well. I like sponges because sponges are fun. But then you're not wasting the paint because, you know, don't waste it. It costs too much money to waste it. So if you have a little sponge, you know, sea sponge. I'm trying to find one. I know I have one floating around here. Okay, here's one. Sea sponge is good. Just wet it. And then here we'll do some blues. You can just play with that. Maybe, what do we want to add to that? I'll try this orange. It might look okay. You know, just make yourself a background. Okay? And you'd be surprised, just having papers like this or whatever comes in very handy when you're doing tags and such. And you just need some sort of a background to get you started. Okay? So that's all I mean. I won't waste it. I know it's a lot of paint still on there. And I could try covering it and saving it until next week, but chances are it's just going to dry out, and I don't want to do that. Even though I do have I have a Matheson's, it's like this holder thing that you can put your whole palette in, and you're supposed to put water or a wet rag in there and it'll keep your paint fresh. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't want to risk it, so I'll just use it up. I'm just washing my sponge out before it dries on there. Okay. It's not a very good job. I'll wash it better later. But you get the idea. Don't waste your paint is my point. Okay? I got a white spot up there. If you can get that white spot off without running it, maybe. Depends on how long it's been there. See if it'll come off. If it won't come off, I'll just hit it with some green. It may not come off. At some point I splashed. Nope, it's not going to come off. Okay. I'll hit it with some green and hide it. I hate when that happens. Anyway, all right, so that is our lesson for today. Y'all take care. I will be back on Friday working in the Vintage Paris Junk Journal. So join me at 9 p.m. on Friday if you want to watch that. And I'll see you guys then. All right, y'all take care. Have a good night. All right, bye-bye.